Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, it has been forever since I have made a video. I am back to talk about my Berteau Co. Teacher planner that I purchased last year to just kind of document what worked, what didn't work, and if I decided to use this planner again for next school year. So let's get into it. First up, of course, there were times that I just wanted to have all my stuff with me. So I bought this little pouch, and it slides right over the cover of the planner. And I was able to keep my just things that I needed at my fingertips at all times. Some index cards, my Blackboard completion QR code, stickers. Usually I had my flare pens and other things in here that I could just easily just slip this right over the cover and take it with me. And then the other thing about having this on here versus having it in the back in that pocket is that I can have all my pens and my sticky notes and stuff, and it would still lay flat and I could still write on it. So this I bought on Amazon, I think, at the beginning of the school year, and it served its purpose well. I really liked it, and obviously I didn't realize that there was a protective film on that. Guess I just thought it looked funny. Never looked at the back. But anyway, this little pouch was great. The other little thing that I kept in my planner was this little zipper pouch with I made a list of all of their little names, and I've just put them in different colors, and and when I needed them to meet a goal or just something that I was just checking off, I would just cross. So what I did was I just kept this on the front of my planner, and then I just took this little mesh pouch and stuck it in there. And y'all, that was all I needed for the whole school year. It held on, and it held up really well. And I mean, and like with this, I took it off and on all the time. So let's talk about the planner itself. Okay, at the end of my last video, I said, I think I found my planner. Y'all, I know I found my planner. I loved this planner. Look at the condition of this planner. I mean, look, the little metal pieces are still on. The planner, I don't know if you can see that, but if you look right here, the edges of where you get most of the wear and tear right in here at the top, it's not ripping at all. Oops, sorry, hit the camera. It's not ripping at all. I picked this up by the spiral all the time. I am not gentle on planner. This planner did not just sit somewhere and not have me use it. I picked this planner up. I hold it by the spiral. My students would go and get it for me, and I mean, this was a used planner, and I'll tell you, it is holding up really well. I put it in my planner bag. I put it in my backpack, and it held up really well, better than any planner that I've had. And I'll tell you, the great thing about this is that this is a hardcover planner. It is not one of those laminated paper planners that can easily fray, or the plastic gets, especially here in Texas, like today, it's 100 degrees, and that plastic gets soft, and if you're rough with it and it's not a good day, then it doesn't last. So 10 out of 10 for durability, I'll tell you. So some of these pages I actually covered. I did not write our special schedule in there because, quite honestly, it changed so much from beginning of the year until probably about October that I just didn't put it in there. Our early release schedule, I didn't write any of this stuff in there because it was just digital. It was something that I put on my slides as the year progressed. So I really just didn't need that. By the time we got to early release, I was already using my digital slides and really didn't need that. School directory, I said I was going to put team birthdays on there. I put all that information in my phone, and same with all of this. I really kept all this stuff in my phone. Good information to have, and I'm not saying it was a killer for not using this, but it was great. Passwords and all of this, you know, I did start to write them down in there, but what I found was that I logged my password into Google, and for the kids, most of these have gone to QR codes, and so I was able to just do QR codes for the kids. Birthdays, I filled in my birthdays, and this was a page that was used quite a bit. Transportation, I wrote down the transportation in here, and so the first couple weeks of school, I used this a lot. Then we made a chart. Medical and allergy, I had a few kids with some really serious medical issues, and I just decided I did not want to write that down in my planner. I wanted to keep it in a place in my classroom where my substitutes, the assistants, and things like that were able to get to it. And so what I did was I took a spiral notebook and sectioned it off for these kids that had serious medical needs. And that way, when I went to meetings, I could grab that spiral and not have to take my whole planner. And then fortunately, it worked out because, you know, things like that can be subpoenaed if you're putting down stuff. And I had a situation where my notes on a particular child were subpoenaed. If I had them in my planner, that would have been subpoenaed as well. So the next few pages I really didn't use a lot. Seating chart, which is really nice paper, and I always keep thinking, you know, I could use that for something. But I really don't use a seating chart in my classroom. The same with the passwords pages. I feel like I want to use these pages for something, but I can't think of anything to use it for. I'm going to skip past the next few pages. Student information, all of these were my student info sheets. I did use this. I wrote it down and actually was able to be thankful that I had it written down. I was able to use it twice this year when we had a power outage and I had a child with a medical issue that needed me to contact the parent while the Wi-Fi was out, or one time we had no power. No power equals no Wi-Fi. So I was glad that I was able to flip through this and get mom's number, call her, and have the information, you know, the issue taken care of. Then I just had little love notes, things that the kids wrote me and gave me that I stuck in here. Then parent conference, I started using it, and then just didn't. I had a great bunch of parents, and I know that sometimes we need to document interactions with parents, and I think I may have documented one interaction with a parent at the beginning of the year just to see how I would like using it. But, you know, I had a great bunch of kids this year, a great bunch of parents, and so documentation on kids or in communication with parents was just not something that I needed to do outside of what we already had in place. Our school uses a program called School Status, and everything is documented in there. And beyond that, I really just didn't need to have a place where I was, you know, needing to go, no, I talked to you on this day, I talked to you, didn't need it. Oh, sorry. Hit the camera again. I am a hand talker, and so I will hit that camera a million times. Moving on, checklists are always great to have. I just didn't use them. I mean, it was kindergarten. I mean, what are we, you know, what am I checking on? Same thing with assessment data. I kept all my assessment data in an online Google Sheets workbook, and so I just didn't get back to my planner for this type of stuff. Just peeking to make sure that there was no. So then I got into July, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do these wonderful planner spreads and all this. Y'all, it did not. So this was a currently page. What was I currently reading? It was summer. I wasn't reading nothing. Changing, move more, swim, go to the gym. Actually did most of that this year. Currently watching, probably would have been Big Brother at that time, buying or making. So these were just kind of a spread that I thought, I'm going to do this every month. Yeah, wait, this is the last one you'll see. And then these are days that, I started just kind of making mental notes of things. These were days that we worked late, y'all. Look at how many days that we worked. We had 6 days that we had to stay and work until 6 or 7 o'clock. So, I mean, you're talking 12, 13-hour days. And it was rough. So I did use this in July just to kind of get some thoughts done, some prep work. I have WWSD, What Would Shirley Do? Shirley is a friend of mine who's been a dynamic kindergarten teacher for many years. And if I could be half the kindergarten teacher she is, I would be, honored. So then I did this beautiful July spread with all the boxes and the colors and all that. So, because that's the only one that's in here. And so then I just had places where kids gave me little love notes and things like that. And so I would just write them down. This was my intention of making stickers for my pages, just measuring the box measurements for each one of those. And then that was all I did in July. Then August rolled around, and you see, I wasn't doing that anymore. Stickers here and there, and I just, at that point I started putting in the dates for like kids' birthdays and things like that. And then I got into planning. Now, our curriculum is pretty scripted, so there was really not a whole lot of need for me to write out detailed plans. But you will see that at times, because it was my first year teaching this, I really felt like I needed to understand and kind of write out more notes than needed. So there will be some of these pages that have more. But what I wanted to point out was that here I was going down. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then my subjects were going across the top. Same with here. Subjects are going across the top. And then, I don't know why I stapled these pages together. I don't know. But I did switch over September. And then in September, I just decided, okay, I'm going to switch this because I like the fact that this is a lie flat planner. And if I had it going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I would feel like I needed to keep it open. And I am a vertical person, so it was very easy for me to just look at my days of the week and just flip this over when I needed to move on to the next days. So I switched after about a month of using this, going horizontally, and then I switched to a more vertical. And, you can see I just kind of got to where I was just writing down what lesson we were, because I was at this point still looking at the script. So several of that. And so the monthly spreads I did keep up with for the most part. November rolls around, getting a little bit more sparse. December, a little more sparse. I don't think I did anything in December. And let me tell you why. So I had this awesome October calendar, and I was doing my plans in October, just chugging right along, and my kids were happy and making love notes. And then, y'all, the end of October hit us, and I got a new student, and this baby he rocked our world. He rocked everybody's world. And so it took me November, December, and most of January to get supports in place for this kiddo, to get supports in place for me, for the other students in our class. I mean, he rocked our world. So there wasn't a whole lot of writing stuff down in December. And then by the time I got to December, I had switched up and I was using my digital slides. So you'll see that the lesson plan pages were pretty much blank. But I love this planner. And so in January, I made another switch. So in January, I sat down with my planner and decided I was going to use this in a whole different way. I was no longer really planning lessons on paper. I was getting more comfortable with the format and the flow of the lessons. So I was able to directly use my slides for internalizing, for creating the lessons and all of that. So my daily slides were what I depended on mostly for our lessons in both Amplify Eureka and in our science. So it worked really well for me. Then what I did was I needed a place to keep notes. I had been doing this in a spiral, and my spiral was just kind of filling up, and I thought, you know what? I got this great planner. I'm going to use it. So what I did was I used it to keep track of my attendance, any little notes on behavior, any notes, and then reading the math groups. And I did that for a while, and little love notes and all of this stuff also went in there. And then February, this was working out really well. And so trying to make sure I don't have names. So I continued with, keeping track of attendance, behavior, and then it kind of switched again. So in March, this planner evolved again. So what I did in March was I was still keeping track of behavior, still keeping track of the attendance and all of that. But then what I needed was to be able to, as we're getting towards the end of kindergarten, we're marking certain behaviors and we're looking for certain things and really focusing in on things. So I would set a weekly behavior goal, and I would try to get the kids, I would document who's meeting that goal, who's not meeting that goal. So at this point, I was still keeping, I moved my notes section to the top because getting towards March, we're starting to pick up on a lot of the end of the year stuff. And so I needed notes at the top. Then attendance, I kept there. So I'm writing down when we got ready to do attendance, we were doing calendar, and then I would note here who was absent at that point. Then if they were late or if they came in late, as you can see right here, I wrote the time that they came in. So that way I knew who was tardy, who was late, and when they came in. Then this was not as much of a pain as it looks like. So what we were still doing is we were still choosing a goal, a behavior that we were focusing on for the week. As I was starting to wind down the year, I have a store in my class, and I like to try to get rid of as much of this stuff as possible. So they were earning bucks not by like overall behavior, but how well they were doing on the goal. The goal was written on the board, and I just would write down, kind of X out who earned what, reminders. You either got $5, $4, $3, $2, or $1. And so that worked well all the way through the remainder of the school year. I was still doing this in April and May, and that's just kind of how I ended out the school year, with using those pages in my planner. So it started off as a planner, planning, you know, the actual lessons, but then it ended up just being a place for me to document and write notes. I am sure that if I looked close enough on there, I could probably find that they have this high quality notebook, probably in just a plain paper planner, which I could probably do all of that. But I like having those sheets in there. I really like that. So as you can see, I didn't use any of the notes pages, but I did like that they were not, I mean, that they were there. I just stuck some stickers on them. Then I used my academic calendar, put the school year calendar in there, and the pocket. Y'all, the other thing to point out is that you can see I used this pocket. This pocket was well loved. My kids knew that there were certain stickers that lived in here that they were they love to borrow, well, to use from me. I was in and out of this pocket quite a bit, and kids would go into this pocket quite a bit too, to get stickers out. Sometimes if I was working with a group, I would put just flip my planner to the back and say, get a sticker, and they would get a sticker. I used this pocket quite a bit. I kept in here, like, my end of the year checklist lived back here when I was doing that. But then things like, I assigned my students a number, and I kept that number card in there. I also had just other little things. Sometimes if the kids gave me papers, little pictures and things that they would give me, I would stick those in there until I could find a home for them in my planner. And it was just, it was great. I loved it. I loved it. So the question is, would I use Berteau Co? Again, this was my first time buying from them. I'm not real huge about buying from the internet. But would I use this planner again? And the answer is, ta-da! I have already bought my planner for next year. I am so excited. So I haven't even looked at it. I cut the tape because they packaged this thing to handle war. So like last year, like I said, I was so excited that to get it, that I just did not capture how beautifully packaged these things come. So move that box, and this is beautiful paper, but I'm too excited. So which one did I get? I got the Jerry Brooks Love, Respect, and Courage planner. So see guys, I mean, talk about well packaged. This planner is not getting damaged in transport. Oh, I hit the camera again. Ta-da! I'm so excited. I am going to do a whole different video on, oh yay, it has the inside the same as the one that I had before. Let's see. The pockets, and those are wherever you go, go with your heart. Yay. So looks to be a lot the same as last year. I probably will not do as detailed of a walkthrough as I did last year, because this planner is exactly the same as my planner from last year, which makes me happy and gives me all the feels. especially because next year there will be some changes in my life, and this is going to be very key to helping me be successful to that. So I am so excited. Yes, I did decide to go with the same planner. I really, really, really believe that when I find something that fits for me, it works for me, then I stick with it. And this planner last year, where I may not have used it as a lesson planner all year long, it made me happy. It made me happy to look in it, to look back at the pages that were done. Berteau Co, kudos to you. This is not a sponsored video, but hey. But it was just a great planner. And I have used, y'all, this is 32 years in the classroom. I have used many planners over the years, digital planners, paper planners, and so far this planner gives me all the happy feels. It is my happy place. It is my planner. So I am very excited to add another planner to my newfound planner collection. If you have stuck it out with me in this video for this long, I appreciate it. Truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Really, these videos are on here for me to document my journey in these last few years of education as I decide if I'm going to stay in education, if I'm going to move on and do other things. Education has changed a great deal, and I have decided to stay. I will not be staying in kindergarten next year, but I am moving on to very exciting opportunities, and I really hope that if you have enjoyed my video that you stick around and see what I'm going to be up to for next year. I am going to make a more detailed video about my plans for next year and post it at some point. And then I know last summer I said I'm going to be making things and putting them on my video, you know, recording them and all of that. And I had every intention of doing that. But, you know, summer happened, life happened. And I needed at that point time to wrap my mind around the fact that my gifted and talented program was not coming back, and that I was going to be going back into the classroom at a time where teachers are all feeling frustrated and deflated. And so I was a little sad about that. However, I found that kindergarten was very much what I needed. And I'll talk a little bit more in detail about my journey in kindergarten. But I have decided that I am staying in education. I am staying on my current campus, but I next year will be the art teacher. And art just aligns with me as a person. It aligns with everything that I believe in education, and it's going to allow me to be able to encourage creativity and problem solving. And so I am so excited that this planner will be following me through my journey into my new art classroom. So as I move forward, I do hope that you will join me. If there's anybody even watching this video, join me. If not, I will be documenting my journey here through learning a new discipline in education, and I am so excited about it. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.